Today's topic is a fun one. It is the difference between redesigning and optimization. And we hear that term optimization a lot. I wanted to break this down for you. And really, what it comes down to is you're asking the question, do I need a brand new website or do I just need to fix what I already have? And this matters so much because getting this answer wrong can cost you. If you rebuild something that actually just needs a little bit of optimization, a little bit of refinement, you have spent time and money that you didn't need to spend. And if you keep trying to fix something that has real deep structural problems, you are leaving leads on the table every single month. I've seen both happen. And I thought it would be fun to walk through how to actually think about this decision clearly so you're not just going with your gut or that feeling or defaulting to what you think you should be doing. We'll talk about how to move through this and how to separate these two things because they are truly different. And I will give you 5 questions you can work through on your own to figure out where you are in this process. So let's get into it. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to the pod. I'm so thrilled that you're joining me for today's episode about optimization and redesigning. I hear these two terms used interchangeably all the time, and they are actually not the same. Let's define them. Let's start with the redesign. A redesign of your website is a rebuild from the foundation up. We are talking about starting with your positioning, your messaging, who you are serving, how you are speaking to these people that are coming to your website, your visitors, your potential clients, how your pages are structured, what your navigation looks like, how a visitor moves through your site from the moment they land on your website to the moment that they reach out to you, booking that consultation call or filling out that inquiry form. When you redesign, you come out with a different website. New structure, new visual system, new way of guiding people towards working with you. And sometimes people say redesign and they just mean, using the design that you have and just spiffing it up a little bit. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a real redesign, and it's basically starting from the ground up. Yes, you're using the term redesign, but you are starting new, okay? Optimization is what you do when the foundation is already solid. You are refining what is there. Looking at your messaging, maybe cleaning up your headline, looking at your calls to action, tightening up your contact form, moving your testimonials perhaps closer to where people are making the decisions. The basic website is the same. Just what you're doing is that icing on the cake and it will perform better for you. If you want to think about it like a house, okay, a redesign is renovating your house. And optimization is rearranging the furniture. Both can really improve how that space feels and it functions, but they are solving very different problems and they cost very different amounts of time and energy. The struggle is that most small business owners default to one or the other without really asking which one do they actually need. And some people want to tear everything down every single time something frustrates them, while others try to optimize their way out of a larger structural problem. And that no amount of tweaking or fixing or, putting the dressing on here and there is going to fix it because the issue runs deeper than the surface. Starting with a redesign, what does this actually look like? How do you know if you're dealing with that foundational problem? Let's talk about some real markers. The first one is simple. You hesitate to send people to your website. I share that this is one of the signs that maybe we should work together. You are embarrassed to send people to your website. It is one of the most honest signals you have as a small business owner. If you're on that discovery call with your potential client and you feel a little bit uncomfortable sending them to your homepage. Pay attention to that. You're in that networking event, you're handing out a business card, and you find yourself saying, but check me out on LinkedIn or Instagram. Let's connect there. You don't want to send people to your website. Pay attention to that. Your website should be something that you feel genuinely confident and excited to share. You aren't apologizing for it in your head. You are so happy to send people there because you know that it represents who you are, what you do at this point in time, and it's going to take the action, encourage people to take the action that you want them to take. This is a sign that's worth taking seriously. The second one is that your business has grown, has changed, your services have shifted, who you serve, your clients have shifted, but your website has not kept up. And this is very common. The website made sense when you built it. Maybe you built it 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But now, what you do, who you serve, how you work, your process, it's all shifted. And there is a gap between what your website says and what your business actually does and how it works today. When I worked with Theodora's, the butcher shop, I shared about an episode about her project a few episodes back. This was her situation. Her website had content. The site was built and there was care put into building it, but it wasn't reflecting who she was now or what made her shop different. And the depth of her expertise and her relationships was not coming through to her website. The site shared information, but it wasn't guiding people to where the action that she wanted them to take or making it clear what made her special. The website hadn't kept up with the shift that her business had made. The third sign is that your mobile experience is challenging, to say the least. When I did an episode about the 10-minute audit, this was one of the first things that I had you check. Go get out your phone, check your website, tap the menu, look at your phone numbers, look at your buttons. If these are hard to tap, if the pages are loading awkwardly, if the navigation doesn't work on that small screen, this isn't a small cosmetic issue. This is a larger redesign issue. And since half the people are probably visiting your website from your phones, this is where that first impression is being made. That is a sign that your website might need a redesign. And the fourth is that the conversions aren't happening. The fundamental pieces that you need on your website aren't there to help those visitors convert. There's no value proposition at the top, that hero section. There's no social proof where people need to see it, where they're making those decisions. That contact form maybe is buried and there's no logical pathway for a person who is curious to get to that form. These are things you can't neglect and you can't layer on top of a site that was not built for them. They need to be part of the structure from the start. These are all signs that it might be time for a redesign. Now, talking about optimization, here's the other side. What does that look like? Because a lot of websites don't need to be rebuilt. They need to be refined. Optimization is the best move when the structure, the foundation is working, but the improvement lives in the details. Here's what that looks like. Your current website, it looks professional. It is current. But the inquiries coming in aren't as many as you would expect or aren't the best fit. People are visiting your website, looking around, and then leaving without taking action. The pages aren't broken. They're just not pulling their weight. And you might also be able to actually point to some specific spots that you know people are having challenges with. Perhaps you know the contact form and is way too long, has too many questions. Maybe you know I built something free for you and I want to tell you about it. It's a bot and it's called the Homepage Clarity Check. What happens is you drop your website URL into the bot. It reviews your homepage the way a website strategist would, like me, and it tells you what a new visitor actually sees, what's working, and what to fix first. You can find it at jennybdesigns.com or click the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode. Calls to action on your services page aren't clear. Maybe you know that the testimonials that are sitting at the bottom of a testimonials page are on a page that people most never scroll to or probably aren't going to see. You can identify perhaps where that drop-off is happening. It means that The foundation, it's doing its job. The way the website was built, the structure is there. You just need to sharpen some specific spots. And the thing about optimization changes is that most are very doable on your own. You don't necessarily need to hire someone to rebuild your site. What you often need is someone to look at it with you, tell you specifically what to change and why, and then you go and make these changes yourself. Actually, this is what I do on my website, Coach and Call. This is exactly what it's designed for, and I love having these calls. It is a small investment to work with me, but the idea is that I walk you through as a professional exactly what I see, and we talk about those specific changes that would make the biggest difference for your site. And then you take that list and you do the work yourself, or you give it to your VA, whoever manages your website. You stay in control of your own site. You're not waiting on anyone. You just have that clear, prioritized direction instead of guessing what to fix first. And I talk about this a lot. A lot of my podcast episodes are exactly about this optimization because most of you have a solid site. It's just a little bit stuck. And sometimes you don't need a designer. You just need a second set of eyes or a clear plan. And that's what my coaching calls do. And that's also what all of these podcast episodes do. I think about this referral versus the cold website traffic. If you haven't heard about me talk about this before, here's what I'm thinking about. A referred visitor. So a referred visitor is perhaps someone that you know, a referral partner that you might have, or maybe someone you met in a networking group said, "Oh, I know Sally. Sally needs a new website." So they give Sally my information, your information, and they arrive on your website. She is a warm referred visitor. She already trusts you because someone she trusts sent her your way. So when something on your website is a little bit unclear or buried or it's a little bit difficult to understand, this referred visitor gives you the benefit of the doubt. They fill in the blanks. However, a cold visitor does not. A cold visitor arrives with zero context, zero trust, and very little patience for confusion. And a cold visitor could be coming to you from Google, Claude, ChatGPT. They found your name, just did a little bit of search, and they landed there. So when you are looking at your website, think about this. Is it a foundational issue where the structure is failing cold visitors? Or is it a refinement issue where the structure is okay, but the details aren't as sharp as they could be? Because if it is the second one, then optimization might mean what you need. And if you need help with that optimization, that's exactly what my coaching call is for and what I love to do. I want to give you a real example, a concrete example, because I think this might help you help it click. So imagine a service-based business owner. She invested a lot of money into her website. And a year later, she reaches out to me because things are not going the way that she had hoped. And I looked at her website and the design actually wasn't terrible. And the copy, the words were okay. But the problem is that there was no real strategy for visitors, depending on where they are in the decision-making process. There was a contact form on the website and not much else. No way for someone who is curious but not ready to stay connected. No pathway made sense based on what a visitor is actually thinking when they land there. In a situation like this, the answer is not always a brand new website. Sometimes it's just to work with what is already there. Look at the messaging, adjust your messaging so it speaks more directly to the right person. Add a way for someone to stay in touch if they're not ready to reach out yet. And what I mean by this is, for example, for me, I am a high ticket investment. To work with me, I do website redesign. So it is an investment to work with me. Sometimes people reach out or get onto my website and they're not ready yet. But at the same time, I offer ways that they can share their email address and get on my email list and stay in touch with me so that when they are ready to work out, they will think of me. I offer them value in exchange for that email address. I have a freebie, an opt-in, a few actually on my website. My most recent one is a website bot where when you get it, you can put in your URL and the bot will recommend ways that you can up-level your home page by focusing on 2 or 3 things. It will give you a kind of a to-do list to optimize that homepage. That is a freebie that I offer. And when someone gives me their email address, I give them that freebie. And then they are added to my weekly newsletter every Thursday, like clockwork. For the past 4 years, I send out a newsletter and I share a strategy, a tip, a story that shares with them how they can make their website better. And then when they're ready to work with me, they will be able to stay in touch and think of me when they are ready to reach out. So that is a way that you can add for people to stay in touch if they're not ready to work with you at that current time. Going back to that website, looking at the navigation, does it reflect how a visitor actually thinks? Cleaning up that navigation. And that is probably one of the top things that I do on almost all of my website coaching calls, my website audits, and when I'm having people on my show to do these mini audits. That's what we're talking about, your navigation. You could also think about your social proof. Is it in the right spot for where people are trying to make decisions? Is that mobile experience good? Do you have a phone number to contact you? All of these changes can make a real difference to your website without starting over. And all of these changes are things that you can do yourself once you know what you're looking for. And that's the piece that gets missed. Most people assume that improving their website means hiring someone to rebuild it. But it doesn't. Sometimes it just means having a clear conversation with someone who has looked at a lot of websites and can tell you exactly where yours is losing people. Now, on the flip side, sometimes those fixes reveal that the foundation is the problem, that your positioning will never be clear enough with how you've built it to begin with, that the structure is just wrong for the clients that you want to attract at this point in time, and that if you just optimize it, it's just delaying the inevitable. It's kind of like you can rearrange your furniture all day long, but if your house is built on a cracked foundation, you will eventually have to deal with that foundation. The point I'm trying to make is that the decision should come from an honest assessment of what is actually happening on your website and not from frustration or the feeling that something new will fix everything. So, those 5 questions that I want you to think about, sit with these, answer them, and they will tell you a lot. The first one is, does your website clearly explain what you do, who it's for, what problem you solve within the first seconds of someone landing on it? Not within the first scroll, not after reading the first 3 paragraphs, but within the first few seconds. If someone knew that new traffic, not the referral traffic, the new traffic landed on your homepage and had to explain what to do, could they? The second question is, does the quality of your website match the quality of your business today? Not 2 years ago, not 1 year ago, right now. If you have grown, if your services have evolved, if your clients are at a different level than when the site was built, is the site keeping up? The third question is, can you make updates to your site without breaking or feeling like it's a project? If every change requires you reaching out to your developer, your website designer, or it results in something unexpectedly going wrong, you breaking something, that's a sign that the architecture is fragile. The fourth question is, do you know where your visitors are dropping off? This is where your analytics come in. And I have 3 episodes all about analytics that you can go back and listen to. You can't improve what you're not measuring. If you have no idea where people are leaving your site, this is worth addressing. It's also important information for figuring out whether this is an optimization issue or something deeper. And fifth, is your mobile experience solid? Not just passable, but solid. Look at your phone, test it out, tap the menu, fill out that contact form, see if the home page loads. Those are the 5 questions I want you to answer. If most of your answers lean towards no, a redesign is probably where you need to start. But if most of your answers are leaning towards yes, you're probably in that optimization territory. And if it's a mix, which is probably the most common situation, then maybe you're looking at a targeted rebuild of specific pages or specific sections rather than the whole site. So a little bit more on the heavy optimization / a tiny bit of rebuilding. What I want you to take away from this episode is that redesigns and optimizations aren't competing against each other. No, they're not better or worse, one or the other. They solve different problems at different stages of your website's life. I will tell you, I am constantly optimizing my website. I redesigned it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think, and I am always optimizing it. Every couple of months, optimization is always there. I am optimizing it because it looks like me. It represents my services. It speaks to who I am as a business. But I am always tweaking to see if I can make it work a little bit better for me. The websites that work hardest over time, they're built on that clear foundation. And then you refine it steadily as you learn more about how people are actually using them. Like I just said, it's never there's never a finish line. It's always a work in progress. So, if you went through those 5 questions and things are looking like maybe it's time to optimize, but you aren't exactly sure where, what does that even mean? What should I prioritize? Then maybe a website coaching call is a good option for you. It's a small investment. We get in a call and I walk you through what I see in your website and we talk about what you could change and in what order. And then you take that clarity and do the work yourself. You don't need to hire someone else to rebuild anything. You just need that clear plan. You can always find out more information about the coaching call in the show notes. And if things are pointing more towards a redesign, or you want someone to help you go through those questions, you aren't sure which category you're in, then I encourage you, let's schedule a discovery call and we can chat about it. And I can help you get a clear picture of what is working, what might not be, and what the actual right next step could be. You can find out more about that as well in the show notes. And I hope this has lended you a little bit of clarity between the difference between optimization and redesigning your website. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.